Welcome to Open for Business. We're happy to have you along with us. Tom Egelhoff, your Saturday morning mayor in the house. Shane Matobin, half man, half amazing, cooler than the other side of the pillow. He's in Kamloops, Canada, believe it or not, if there is such a place. No one knows where that is for sure, but
only known to us that live here.
That's it. That's right. So there you are. Well, hey, MSU did good. The men and the women. Men are going to the March Madness. The women won the conference. So, wow, pretty nice weekend for Montana sports. So we're happy about those folks over there. So,
how cool would that if they got to the Sweet 16? Oh my
God. Man, that would be pretty nice. Hey, it's a daylight savings weekend. You're going to lose an hour of sleep tonight. So. Or not tonight. Well, yeah, I guess tonight. I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Spring forward, fall back.
That's right. Yeah. If you want to text your phone number to us, Shane will call you at 2 a.m. and he will make sure that you set your clocks back. So he'll be happy to do that. So just text your phone number over to us or email it to us.
And it's Oscar weekend.
It is. Does anyone care? Does anyone care about the Oscars? I mean, that used to be a staple to watch. Anymore, it's, oh my God, 4 hours I'll never get back.
That's right.
I mean, it's...
and they basically promoted on the fact that, well, we have a group to prevent another incident like last year, like suggesting something may happen. So
oh, yeah, let's tune in and see who's going to punch who.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, man. Well, we got a ton of stuff to talk about this morning, Shay. We gotta start off with John Tester because Tester is one of the. He's turning into Joe Manchin. He's emerging as the make or break player for President Biden's agenda. It could be the deciding vote of some of Biden's controversial nominees, and he. With Cinema and Manchin kind of being iffy, Tester is the guy that they're looking at.
Well, it's only because of the re-election.
Yeah.
We talked about this, particularly back in December when they were, debating the omnibus bill. Yeah. And that he lost there because he voted for it.
Yeah.
And a couple of other issues that he, the Green New Deal, which would have opened up Montana and the Keystone Pipeline if he rejected it. And so, no, this is just a campaign positioning.
Mm-hmm. Well, he tried to amend the COVID relief legislation in March of 21 with a proposal to allow construction of the Keystone XL pipeline to move forward without a presidential permit. If he got that done, I would vote for him because that's $90 million in property taxes to Montana. Poorest counties. And he voted for the GOP-sponsored resolution in December to nullify Biden's COVID mandate for private businesses. That's where any business with 100 employees or more, Biden was mandating vaccines. So he voted against that as well. So his vote may be more critical as, these Senate Democrats, there's 23 up, and I think this time around, a third of the Senate's up every 2 years. So 23 are up of the 33 and a third. Who's that one-third senator anyway? Who is that guy or gal? I don't know who those people are. Yeah, so. Yeah, well, the other thing we've got to talk about, Tester appeared in one of the campaign things and railed against multi-millionaires, but he actually is one, Shane.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he's worth between 1.7 and 6.7 million. That's a spread. That's 5 million spread.
Yeah, it depends on the value of his farm, right?
Yeah, I guess it fluctuates up and down according to the whatever. But he also reported thousands of dollars worth of stock and other investments as well as bank deposits. So for him to rail against the rich is kind of I don't know, a red herring to me anyway. That all these guys are rich. Daines is a millionaire. Rosendale, I think, is too. So it's hard to find somebody in Congress that isn't. So
Well, the sad thing about it is you think the people that are wealthy on their own that went into politics, wouldn't be corruptible.
mm-hmm.
But I guess when you see more on the table, you want to sit there.
Well, that's certainly true. So, well, the other thing that happened, Shane, usually regulators close banks on Friday. They didn't this time. They swooped down on the middle of the day. Silicon Valley Bank collapsed. This means quite a blow because a lot of tech stocks are there. Tech companies are there. Deposits are only insured for $250,000. They've got $1 million in there plus, or $1 billion or more in there. What do you think?
Well, this is a black swan.
Yeah.
We've seen this before back in the '78 crash with Drexel Burnham and Michael Milken and junk bonds, long-term capital. Under Clinton, they had 220 million in capital and leveraged it 21 to 1 to 1.2 trillion in derivatives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it had to be bailed out, and then your Lehman Brothers, of course, 680 billion in '08, and amazingly, Milken was a Friday. Boski got out and caused the collapse of the Dow on Friday. Didn't even open on Monday, and if it wasn't for the futures market on Tuesday, the entire market would have collapsed in 1978 or 82 or whatever, 87. And then long-term capital, this happened in the middle of the currency fiasco during Clinton's administration, and this black swan resulted in the collapse of the dot-com market in 1998-99, and then of course 2008-09, the collapse of the market because of Lehman Brothers, and they had 890 billion in mortgage-backed securities. Over the weekend, they ended up being sold for 12 million on Monday through their subsidiary in England to Lloyd's of London. Turns out the Lipper average, that's a overnight rate that banks would borrow from each other, had jumped because of Lloyd's of London. So it was a British setup. I mean, and it goes on. And the terrible thing here, and the numbers are scary. Silicon Valley Bank, 40 years old, venture capital bank of Silicon Valley, over 500 clients, not only existing technology companies in the valley, but venture capital startups, companies that would be going public. They would put their venture capital money in there, be lent money for personal use and money to keep the company operating until it went public. So now you have literally a collapse of funding for venture capital that is involved in technology of the 21st century. But wait till the list comes out of the Apples and the Bezos and everybody involved in high tech, and what they have lost or now only are going to get $250,000 for. I mean, 30 years ago you only got 75, right?
Yeah.
So it's since the crash of '08 that the FDIC, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, increased it to 250, and that's for the smaller person who they say will have their money available on money, because it did have about 400 to 500 billion in assets when it went down on Thursday. So it will be handled, but Monday morning is not going to be very. This is all my models now just went off the chart today, or yesterday, there, Tom.
Well, that's for sure. Yeah. For the benefit of our listeners who aren't familiar with the terminology black swan, that simply means an event that was unforeseen and immediate and very detrimental to the economy. It's a black swan event. It's a swan swooping in that we did not foresee coming. And,
That's right.
And we should have maybe, but we didn't.
This is a regional bank. It's the 15th largest bank in the country.
Yeah.
And so this is in no way a small event. This is a major crunch. The Treasury Department missed it. The Federal Reserve missed it. The banking regulators in California missed it.
Yeah.
And boy, the outcome of this is getting staggering. They're trying to find a buyer for it. They tried to raise $2.1 billion to cover their issues. They couldn't. Yeah. And we'll see where it ends up tonight or tomorrow morning.
Yeah. And earlier this week, we had Powell on the hot seat in front of the Senate.
Well, yeah, we talked about that on our podcast, and he had openly admitted that 2 million Americans have to lose their jobs.
Yeah.
And then I said, "What? Well, no one asked him, like, what are we talking about? Tradespeople, industry, labor, what 2 million people?" And, clearly it's the middle class, lower middle class, middle class, upper middle class. They always get whacked. And this is a perfect example. I suspect, I was doing some modeling last night with my deep dive on Silicon Valley. 400,000 people in California minimum, and another 100,000 across the country because of its operations. So here you go. 25% of Powell's, unemployed just hit the street.
They're gonna be out there, yeah. Well, a couple clients, listeners would be familiar with probably Shopify and of course ZipRecruiter, who advertises here on ad nauseum. That I haven't heard one in a while, but they are also on the hook for this. So they may not be able to pay their employees. That's the thing. That's the big
everyone's
deal.
Panic.
Yeah,
that's the big panic because. Yeah, all those people have big homes. They're all making triple digit in the hundreds to 200,000 range salaries. So they all had big homes in California. You can imagine that there'll be a lot of homes selling, which of course tips the real estate market, and it creates another problem. So,
they may be sold at a loss, which may dump housing in that area for a while.
That's
right.
Yeah,
Parker Conrad, he's the CEO of Rippling, a payroll processor that used Silicon Bank, said there would be payment delays of pay runs initiated earlier this week. They don't have enough in the account to make payroll. So, it's going to be kind of interesting as to how this plays out. And this isn't going to be just a week thing. It's probably going to be a 6-month deal, I would guess.
Or longer, depending on what the effect is to the market. Yeah. That's right.
It will be. So, let's see. Let's go to our text line, 478-8298. Isn't Tester number one in accepting lobby money? Well, could be.
They all are.
Yeah. And didn't the CEO of Silicon Bank sell off his stocks last week? I don't know, Shane. You'd have to look at that one.
I mean, this is really important.
Yeah.
Their stock on Thursday at the open was trading at $325. It dropped to $32, of course. But
of course, yeah. Wow.
It's and now it's gone.
Yeah.
So, I one of the things I did this weekend was look up short positions, and I haven't seen these short positions in the market this large since 2008. So it's as I said, we've seen this picture before. So now we see how it's handled.
Well, that's for sure. From our text line, 406-478-8298, Oscars suck. That's from Gay. So Gay, I'm with you on that one. I don't think I'm going to be wasting my time watching the Oscars. So.
Well, the thing about Hollywood I never got was for 4,000 years, the theater was two masks, a frown and a smile, and a smile. And the Oscars never recognized comedy. They never had a Oscar for the best comedian or comic show or whatever. And to not include half of what makes up,
Yeah, the comedies. Comedies. Very few, if any, have won
anything.
anything in there. Yeah, so.
And none of the major comedians in the history of your country over the last 100 years won Oscar. I mean, Bob Hope got one that they gave him because he was such a great guy, but he never won an Oscar for a movie he was in. He was in over 60 movies.
Yeah. Oh, it's got to be in more than that. Got to be more than 60. From our app chat line, AM 1450 KMMS on your smartphone, Matt Rosendale should run against him, against Tester, and kick his butt. Signed Ennis. Bruce, the Ennis from Menace. A menace from Menace. I don't know, man.
The menace from Menace.
The menace from Menace. I can't talk this morning. What's different this morning than any other morning, I must say. So. I don't know, man. Yeah.
What's important is the Eagle Man is alive and running.
I'm alive and well. I'm alive.
The producer, director, creator. I mean, you're all there, baby.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're looking at. So. Well, some other things. This collapse was pretty abrupt. As I said, usually the regulators, if they're going to take a bank down, do it on a Friday afternoon. They went in there, I think, on Wednesday or Thursday and closed them at noon. And so that gives you some idea of how serious this was. And only a fraction of the customers' funds may be recovered because FDIC only insures accounts up to $250,000, and these guys have millions in there for investing and payroll and everything else. And it's going to probably be broader concerns for banks. It was the biggest collapse since 2008, and the Dow Jones, S&P, and NASDAQ composite all closed with losses of more than 1% on Friday. And Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, bless her heart, convened a meeting of federal banking regulators on Friday, and the Treasury Department announced to discuss the ongoing damage caused by the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank. So
do they shoot the black swan, or do they catch it? Do they catch it and sell it to a slaughterhouse?
Well, they hope it's going to lay golden eggs, is what they hope, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's the deal. So I don't know. It's pretty bad there. So. Well, another big local news, Shane. The Almost Daily Chronicle is decided that they are going to combine Saturday and Sunday. So according to them, you'll have an extra day to enjoy the paper. But Saturday and Sunday will be combined. And, of course, there won't be one on Monday. So
there you go.
So Tuesday through Friday, you're going to get the Chronicle and then a combined Saturday and Sunday edition. The weekend edition will have all the content offering longtime readers have come to rely on. Now readers will have an extra day to enjoy that paper. You won't have to consume it all in one day, Shane. You got 2 days. Right. You got 2 days to consume this paper. So, man, we're excited about that. I couldn't be happier about the Chronicle.
That's right.
They're so great. Let's see, from our text line, 4788298, I challenge all those Hollywood weirdos to virtue signaled to live on my budget. Yeah. Let's let them live on our budgets. Get woke or go broke. So, Shane left us, I think. Let's see. How about that photo of Rosendale with white supremacists? Seems he attracts them. I wonder why. Yeah, I saw that photo. I'm not sure what's going on there, but it's kind of a iffy deal there. Like she'll probably still have Shane on the phone, but Skype went.
I do. I'm here.
Yeah.
My computer froze. I'll be right with you.
All right. Sounds good. So. All right, print is dead, Gay is saying, and I would agree with that, Gay. I only have the Chronicle because I have to, so it's kind of required. So, yeah, it's quite a mess out there this week. Well, in other news, an MSU student has settled a lawsuit with the university, and a student who filed a lawsuit alleging free speech violation after she questions her sorority's insistence members identify themselves with preferred pronouns, has settled the case against the campus. So we'll see how that plays out. In January, Daria Delaney sued MSU as president and director of the Office of Institutional Equity. There you go. That's a mouthful. Along with the commissioner of higher education, she argued a no contract order of MSU had imposed on her without her consent and due process and infringed on her rights. And we'll talk more about that when we return. All right, half an hour in the can already, so we haven't even got started yet. So we're gonna be rocking and rolling here pretty soon. So we'll get Shane back on the line, and we'll be right back with more right after these important words. Stay tuned. 27 minutes for the top of the hour. Tom and Shane on Saturday. We've got a caller on the line that Shane has deemed as worthy of airtime, so let's go over there. Caller, you are on with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Well, good morning, Glory.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'd be better if I could tiptoe through some tulips and some daffodils, but so far all I see outside is snow, and it's blowing around here in Roundup, so I'm not happy about that. I want spring. I want spring to come here in a hurry.
There you go.
Okie doke. Well, there's a couple things I want to hit on this morning. The January 6th tapes, and I want to talk briefly about the Mexican cartel murders of American citizens. But I'm hoping that everyone got a chance to see the January 6th tapes, and if you haven't, please take the time to review these that Tucker Carlson put up for all of us to view. And we have 6 men from Montana that are in federal prisons, and they are in prison for actually doing nothing. And I think that we should really apply the pressure on our governor and also Senator Steve Daines, because we can't rely on John Tester. He won't do anything for us. These men are in federal prison, and it's destroying their lives, and it's taking them away from their families. And I've got some names here. We've got 2 brothers, Gerard and Joshua Hughes of Helena. We've got Boyd Camper, and we've got Andrew Kavanaugh. We've got Henry Munster, Muntzer. We've got Steve Sturgeon. They're all in federal prison now, and all they were doing were protesting and using their rights under our First Amendment. And I think these men should be released. As a matter of fact, I think everyone who went to federal prison for January 6th protests should get clemency. They should be pardoned. And the people that put them in prison are the ones that actually should be in federal prison. We're talking on Nancy Pelosi, especially her, Chuck Schumer, the Biden family, that Liz Cheney, and you can't even find her anywhere. She's really hiding. I mean, she's really running scared. These are the people that should be in federal prison. So try and call our representatives and put pressure on them to get these guys out of federal prisons. And as far as the Mexican cartel, they have been murdering Americans for God knows how many decades all along that Tex-Mex border, that southern border. And the last attack, and they murdered, of course, 2 of the people. And I found out today that there's 3 more women from Texas that were on the way to a flea market that have disappeared. And you know, the cartel got a hold of them. That's been over a month ago. But our government has offered the government of Mexico $18 million and the assistance of our FBI to get control of this Mexican cartel, to dismantle them. And the president of Mexico has rejected this offer. So that tells us that they want to maintain their sovereignty. They don't want the United States on their side of the border, which is totally unfair to us as Americans, because for how long have they been coming over here and invading our country. But I just think it's time that we do invade Mexico and put an end to the cartel activity.
Sounds good to me, Nancy.
Okay. Well, okay. Hey, that sounds like a cue to get off the air. So, hey, you guys have a great weekend.
All right. We'll try our best.
Thank you, Dad.
Thanks for the call. All right. Now our phone lines are dancing around. We got another person calling in, so we'll try and see if there's some way on God's green earth we can get the phone answered. But let it ring. When it gets to the right spot, I'll answer it. So I don't know, man. It's tough in here in the mornings. Come on, skip over to the next line. There you go. All right. Now we're in business, I think.
We're in the zone.
All right. 522-TALK is the number, 406-522-8255. Caller, you're on with Tom and Shane. What's going on?
Well, it's definitely not the high-tech equipment over there.
No, it's not.
Oh, my gosh, it's a great one. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, gentlemen.
Yeah.
And I think I heard Nancy mention something that I was going to mention that was on the news. I think it was yesterday, where I think it was a cartel spokesman said that they have rules against harming the lives of people. Did you hear that?
Yes.
I mean, really? That some cartel?
Yeah, they wrote an apology and put it on the back of one of the guys they turned over to the U.S. government in a pickup truck that they said were responsible for the murders.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this particular news report just mentioned that fact that the cartel has rules. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, didn't the mafia used to say families were off limits? Didn't the mafia have that rule as well?
Yeah, but this is a general rule, Tom. It's everybody's off limits.
Well, Jerry, they only have one rule: silver or lead.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I just wanted to touch on something. And if you guys remember when the president was in Virginia Beach and he mentioned the fact that he had cut the deficit by 1.7, I think he said billion, but meant to say trillion.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Now he proposes a budget that's 6.7 trillion.
Yeah.
That's going to reduce the deficit by 3 trillion in 10 years when he just said he reduced it 1.7 in 2 years. Come on, Joe. Let's get back to the old one. I like it better when you spend 1.7 and reduce it, by 1.7 in 2 years.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
Jerry came up with that because last May, when I started my rant, Powell said he was going to reduce the portfolio of the Fed by $4 trillion, which would have left him with about 1.4 trillion to pay to the Treasury. But that hasn't happened, so that's why nothing didn't.
Well, the reason there's a 1.7 trillion deficit is the COVID stuff expired. That's the reason.
So that's the reason that the deficit was reduced by 1.7 in 2 years?
Yeah, because all of the COVID payments, the payroll payments and the other unemployment and all that stuff expired.
Yeah, that too, yeah.
Okay. So when he said that in Virginia Beach, he had nothing to do with it. It was just a natural occurrence. He's
just going to, because you're uninformed, not you, Jerry, but I mean the collective you who listen to this guy are uninformed.
Yeah, they don't explain it to you. They just, they just use it.
Yeah. All right. And another thing too, these committee hearings, they drag all these people up in front of these committees, and of course, if I'm not mistaken, Tom and Shane, a committee can only make recommendations. Correct? They can't indict or anything like that. Correct?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
That's right. They make referrals to the Justice Department for charges to be laid. That's right.
Yes. Very good, Shane. Now, do you think for 2 seconds they're going to make referrals to the Justice Department and the Justice Department guy is going to say, well, I think I'm going to indict myself? You think that's going to happen?
Well, they will make referrals for people to be indicted, but none of them will be by your present Attorney General. No, you're right.
Right. So these committee hearings, in my opinion, are a total waste of time. total waste. Why go through all this? It's just a waste of time. That's my opinion. I'm sorry.
Well, the things they're investigating aren't a waste of time, but the manner in which they question witnesses is a waste of time. The questioning that their staff puts together is, it's just dark alley stupidity. I mean, the questions make no sense because they all make political statements. They don't ask questions.
Yeah, that's
right. Well, if you're going to get to the bottom of something, the American public wants results. They just, what's the sense of having these hearings if there's no end to it, end game to it, no results? That's what the American public would like to see. But I don't think it's going to happen, no matter who it is, because these Marxists, they circle the wagons. They just do. That's the way they are. And by the way,
Tucker Carlson blew up your government again this last week. I mean, even Schumer went to the floor and lied, and this is terrible, and Murdoch should take him off the air, and they shouldn't allow him to continue playing these tapes.
Right.
42,000 hours. 42,000 hours they finally released. And clearly, these people they charged, and the one fellow, the Viking, I mean, he got whacked the most because, after 2 years in solitary confinement, he agreed to sign, a guilty plea. He pleaded out.
Yeah.
And of course, the agreement that the Attorney General's office, the Attorney General, got with him was he couldn't appeal. So they never gave the tapes to him or his lawyers. They hid all the evidence, but basically they brown armed him. It was a Stalin, show me a ham sandwich and I'll indict you.
Yeah.
Well, problem is too, Shane, you can't sue the federal government. There's nothing you can do about this. He just lost 2 years of his life, and the people that Nancy mentioned are still in prison. They're losing their life, time of their life, off their lives because of this. It's just a sham. It really is. Those people should be released. Come on. And the people that put them there should be held accountable. That's my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom, I just did some math while I was listening to Shane there for a second. They just released a report that 300,000 jobs were created. Of course, they just never mentioned the fact of where in the service industry or manufacturing or whatever. Yeah. And then the first time claims go up to 210,000 just for this week, which broke a record of being below 200,000 7 weeks in a row. Now, I just did some math. They've been doing this for 2 years, putting out those figures. That's 10 million people that have filed for unemployment, Tom. Is there anybody out there working?
No, there isn't. If you drive around Bozeman, there are now hiring signs everywhere.
And there's now hiring signs here in the little town of Big Timber, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
And yeah. Shane, you mentioned something about that bank collapse, and that was rather quick. They've been only in business for 4 years. Is that what you said?
40.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
4 decades.
All right.
15th largest bank in the country, over 500 billion in assets, and they've been the Silicon Valley Bank has been the lender to all venture capitalists, angel capitalists, and startups. So, all the startups that were planning to go public in the next 2-3 years, bust. I mean, now I got a huge problem. I mean, this is bad, Jerry. This is really bad.
So that's what caused the collapse, the inability to start up or get these businesses rolling. Correct?
They invested in the bond market and started buying bonds, but they got leveraged out because they started trading them out and were losing. And
the higher interest rates over the past the 7 interest rates over the past year put the nail in their coffin because they were overextended too far and they couldn't make the call on the higher interest rates. So
that's right.
Bam, done.
Well, that sounds like our deficit. Our debt.
Yeah, we got the best credit card ever.
Yeah, huh? All right, guys. Well, thanks for taking my call. I'm all squared away.
Well, yeah,
now.
but Monday morning you'll find out if it's a Diner credit card or American Express.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Thanks for the call,
Okay,
Jerry.
guys,
Appreciate
thanks
it. All right. Thank you. All right. Yeah, this bank thing is we're not going to hear the last of it. That's for sure. So it's
100%,
yeah.
my friend.
Oh man, let's see if we can get another call in here. Caller, you're on with Tom and Shane. What's going on?
Hey guys, Kevin.
Kevin, I haven't heard from you in forever, Kevin. I thought maybe the Taliban got you.
I took a trip to Mexico and was a little. I got back in my pickup truck for a while.
Oh, darn! I hope you told us, Kevin, you went to the South so I could start singing zippity doo dah, zippity day.
Hey Tom, you got to be careful too. I don't think your delay is on.
It isn't on.
Everyone's got to be on their best behavior.
Yeah, be careful.
That's right.
All right.
Don't say that, Kevin. People don't need to know that.
Don't talk about congressmanship.
Yeah, right.
That's right. I wanted to get your idea, and so I don't know much about this, but like the big national guys, Glenn Beck and those guys are talking about this electronic currency that they want, the electronic dollar they want America to fall into. And obviously you can't get things, you can't change people's mind. You can't change a whole system if it's clicking along really well. Yeah. So obviously they have to put the lever, put their thumb on the, on our financial institution and, get it hurting. So people go, oh, come on, government, help us. And, let's switch over to electronic currency. That'll be, because this system's failing. So is this, the long of the short here is this bank thing the beginning of, them starting to, with the pressure of the interest rates and everything, all the borrowing to start getting these banks, small banks and whatever, to start failing. So eventually people start saying, we need something different. This regular dollar isn't working, and we need the federal government to come in and fix it. Because they're saying, like Glenn Beck and are having people on their show saying, it's already set. It's in the background waiting just for our collapse of our economy or our financial institutions. So it's really funny that all of a sudden some banks are starting to go down.
Yeah. I don't think the House is going to go for that. It'd have to be a bill
for the electronic currency you're talking about.
Yeah. And I don't think the House would go for it. All money bills start in the House. So I seriously doubt that they would go along with that because there's too many unknowns and there's no real regulation on cryptocurrency.
But it's not. So it's not going to be like Bitcoin. They're not going to allow Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I mean, they might even try to put it out. I mean, this is going to be a U.S. Electronic currency. Just, I mean, kind of the way it is a little bit now.
We've already got digital currency. I mean, when you punch your credit card into the, they don't take money out of the Walmart drawer and send it to, Bentonville.
Right.
And the 1.2 trillion. And the $1.2 trillion underground economy is based on cash, and it's in both urban and rural areas. So both parties are in on it. So they can't. They're not going to go and blow up their constituencies. It just, it's
all right.
That would change everyone's vote in America.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, these are the same folks that lie to us every single day on 1,000 different things. So I don't trust almost all of them. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Well, there's going to be a lot happening with the election year looming. A lot of crazy things are going to come down to be tested between now and next November. So
yeah. Well, they're not gonna. They can't stand for DeSantis or Trump to win. So, no. I mean, all the long knives are coming out again.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Good to hear from you, Kevin. Glad you're doing well.
Good to chat with you. Talk to you later.
Take care. All right. Boy, it's a fun day out there, Shane. What do you think?
Well, we're heading towards spring like a locomotive, and
yeah, we are. That's for sure.
We'll hopefully it doesn't derail.
Yeah. Let's take another call. 406-522-8255. Caller, you are on with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Hey, it's Gay.
Hey, Gay. How you doing?
My favorite I'm doing good, and my favorite subject is cryptocurrency. I'm trying to do that.
Yeah.
Well, you do realize that if they ever get that, they will be able to tell you what you can buy and what you can't buy. Oh, you had a six-pack of beer this week. You can't have another one. You had a steak this week. You can't have another one.
That's
how it
works.
Another way to control. Just another way to control us. So anybody that thinks it's a good idea, think again. Have a good day.
All right, Gay. Thanks for the call. All right, appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, COVID proved we can control the people. We can control them.
Well, the reason I say that China's in such a mess and I believe has fallen into a depression no one wants to talk about is this exactly. 2 years ago, they got rid of cash.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't get rid of the coins because 800 million in the rural areas of China still use them, and most of them don't have phones.
Yeah.
But in the urban areas where you have 400 to 500 million people, they're all on their phones and access to their account by their phones. So the government knows all the updated Chinese and what they're spending, and they know where the underground economy is now. So they don't care, but they can't control it in the rural areas, and that's the big problem that they're having now is that people are still running the underground economy in China against the government's wishes.
Amen to that. Let's take another call. 406-522-TALK is the number. 406-522-8255. Caller, you are on with Tom and Shane. What's up?
Yeah, this is Clint.
Hey, Clint.
Well,
good morning, good sir.
Good morning there, Shane. I got something to say about this banking system.
Sure.
Well, here's how I'm looking at it. The Federal Reserve System had the FBI go in and close down the bank there in California. Now, after closing it down, they will go through all the books and they will see how many people.
Yeah, you're still on, Clint. You got the caller on the other line's making a little noise.
Yeah, nothing.
All right, I'll hang up on them. Yeah, if you're calling in, you got to be quiet because the callers can all hear each other. So
yeah, they have their radio on.
Yeah. So
go ahead, Clint. Fire away, buddy.
Okay. Well, what happens here now? The Federal Reserve System, like I said, had the FBI go in and close the bank down. Now, the Federal Reserve System will go in and look at all the records of the bank. And when they look at those records, they'll find out how many mortgages are out there, how many are in the rears, and how many aren't in the rears. And from what I gather, the Federal Reserve has the power to assume all them mortgages and take them. They can take the land, they can do everything. Now, I've read some of the Federal Reserve papers that was created. It was created on Jekyll and some of the players, I know all the players that were created. Aldrich is one of them. Then Morgan and Rothschilds and them come in later. The thing is, when that happened, you remember what happened to our grandparents and our great-grandparents and their money systems, Tom?
Yeah, we had a depression.
That's right, and they couldn't pay their taxes, and what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, then the land come up for sale at taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my family, the Mosses, on my great-uncles and stuff, they were wealthy people, and they lost all of it. They lost the whole thing. The banks took all their money. This is prior to the Federal Reserve System. And so what I'm going to say here is I think that the bank in California is just a start of what may happen. I think a lot of these banks are overextended. I think some of them are in trouble, like that one in California is. And I hate to say that, but I think that we better watch our whole card. We better be careful. So that's really all I got to say. And joining your program, I hope a lot of people call and talk about this banking system. And I hope they talk somewhat about what Joe Biden is doing. My God, that man is going to destroy this country if it keeps going the way it is. And like the guy said about the jobs, I don't believe a bit of it. And anyway, like Bozeman here, there's all kinds of jobs.
Amen.
And people could go to work tomorrow, but there's no place to live. So what the hell does that tell you?
There you go. Well, if you got a camper, you're set, Chan.
Well, there's 150 of them. I counted them in Bozeman.
Yeah, there are. There's a lot of them here. So.
There you go, yeah.
All right. I got to go. Clint, I'm up against the clock. Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate it.
Okay, I got 10 seconds here. Update, two things. Bill Ackerman, he's the world's largest bond trader in sovereign debt, was the first to call out investors on Wednesday to leave Silicon Valley Bank. So he was confirmed that he was right. But news of the moment just hit the wire in the last hour that Elon Musk may want to buy Silicon Valley Bank.
All right. There we go. All right. You heard it here first. So we'll be right back with more right after the news. 7 minutes after the hour of 9 a.m. It's Saturday. It's March 11th, 2023. It's Daylight Savings Time weekend. You want to set your clocks ahead 1 hour at 2 a.m. tonight. And as I said earlier, if you want to leave your phone number, Shane will call you at 2 a.m. and he'll be happy to let you know that. So, well, it's 9 o'clock, and as we always do at the 9 o'clock hour, it's time for 10 Trump actions you don't know about. So we're going to talk about those. Number one, Russia. In April, the administration, we're in April of 2017, by the way. Russia, in April, the administration refused to issue waivers to any companies that wanted to do business with Russia, which was under economic sanctions, including ExxonMobil, which had applied for a waiver. The G7 summit. In April, the administration refused to sign the G7 joint statement because the other nations could not agree to include support for nuclear and fossil fuels without support for the Paris Climate Agreement. The G7 consequently did not issue a joint statement. In agriculture, in April, in an effort to help farmers affected by NAFTA and the trade imbalance with Canada, those evil people from the north, Trump signed an executive order ordering the Department of Agriculture to find and eliminate unnecessary regulations. Made in the USA, President Trump signed the Buy American and Hire American executive order in April, prioritizing the interest of American business and workers, and called for a reform of visa programs, ensuring they no longer displace American workers while fully enforcing laws governing the entry of foreign workers. And China trade, Trump initiated an investigation in April into whether or not Chinese and other foreign-made steel and aluminum threaten U.S. national security. China has 26% of the steel market in the U.S., and Chinese steel imports were up nearly 20% over last year. Offshore oil drilling in April, Trump signed an executive order to extend offshore oil and gas drilling and reissue a leasing program to develop offshore resources. The order reversed Obama's December ban on drilling in the Arctic and parts of the Atlantic Ocean. In immigration, the administration announced legal border crossings had decreased by 40% in the first month of Trump's presidency. By Trump's 100th day in office, crossings had decreased by 73%, thanks to the president's policies deterring people from attempting to enter the country. The Supreme Court, keeping with a campaign promise, President Trump nominated the highest court, Neil Gorsuch, who was confirmed by the Senate in April. And the conservative for justice said in a report that Gorsuch's early performance says a lot about how the high court will rule in the future. Moving into May of 2017, under abortion in May, the administration broadened the scope of the Mexico City policy to restrict funding to any international health organization that performs abortion or gives information about abortions, expanding the amount of money affected from $600,000 to nearly $9 billion. And lastly, religious liberty on National Day of Prayer in May. Trump announced an executive order on religious liberty that included a loosening of IRS regulations known as the Johnson Amendment against political activities by tax-exempt religious organizations. The order also attempted to make it easier for employers not to provide contraceptives if they had religious objections, and gave Attorney General Jeff Sessions greater authority regarding religious liberty policy. So there's 10 actions Trump did that you didn't know about. So
there you go.
There we are. So what could be more fun than that? Oh, man.
Well,
go ahead.
all those things combined opened your economy, expanded your economy, created new business, new investment. And that's why you saw this run in the GDP.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no question.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to talk about him in a moment because there's a lot of things going on there. But I want to go back to this campus lawsuit by the MSU student, and maybe we got to the top of the hour, and we didn't get to explain that fully. This lady filed a lawsuit because her sorority imposed members identifying themselves with preferred pronouns, and she felt that was against her freedom of speech. So the lawsuit, after she questions her sorority leader about using preferred pronouns and about an alleged stalking by another sorority student who is LGBTQ, the complainant said, as a result, MSU punished Delaney for hate speech and imposed the no contract order, which prohibited her from attending sorority events or entering a building where her alleged harasser was present. And the complaint said MSU was illegally silencing speech that might be deemed offensive to LGBTQ students in violation of the First Amendment. It said the campus was giving Delaney no way out of the no contract order and didn't go through the due process in imposing it. So she agreed to drop the suit if they would drop the preferred pronoun crap. So
well, yeah, but this is the left and the woke movement replacing racism with the minority LGBTQ. I mean, that you're going to see this more and more running up to the election because they're definitely losing black votes. And so they got to have something to complain about minority within the tent. And, this is the biggest minority in the tent with disposable income.
Yeah.
Which means, donations.
Well, the Dominion voting system defamation lawsuit against Fox News is continuing. They're going to go to trial next month, I believe, Shane. Probably, I guess, in April. By advanced calculus, that'd be April. It accuses Fox News and some of its hosts knowingly and repeatedly broadcasting false allegations of Trump campaign lawyers and supporters, among them that Dominion rigged its vote counting machines to switch Trump votes to Joe Biden. The CEO told that it was no accident error by Fox, that they were reporting that. And Fox says, if President Trump was out there talking about it, if he felt there was fraud, then it's our job to report what he was saying. And that's all they're saying. And whether or not they agreed with it, a lot of them did. A lot of them did say that they agreed that they thought Trump was stiffed on the election. But so far, no evidence has surfaced that definitively would overturn the election. No missed votes are out there that say he would have won.
Well, the big problem is Trump had a woman that wasn't a lawyer for him, and she dived into what went on with this company in France, and went and looked at the information that came about the Dominion voting decision in France to get rid of it and to go back to paper ballots. And so that's the profound mistake when you have particularly a lawyer representing you getting up and making accusations that are in reference to another country and couldn't necessarily apply here. So all this will come out in the case, of course, about the situation in France with Dominion. And we'll see where it goes. But I mean, your state uses them.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, depositions and private communications by leading Fox employees made public through Dominion. Recent legal filings show top hosts and executives at the network dismissing Trump's unproved claims of election fraud while worrying how the cable news network's giant audience would react to fact checks of those claims. So Fox, in its legal filing of its own and public statements, has defended itself on First Amendment grounds, arguing it had a journalistic duty to cover the newsworthy allegations being put forth by the president and his aides. So
there you
go.
go.
The court will make the final decision on that, Shane. They'll figure out what the hell it is.
The importance of what you just spoke to, Eagle Man, opens the gigantic door to appeal. So no matter what happens, it'll get good. Either side will appeal. So
so this thing could drag on for
7 years, $25 million to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, at least. So from our text line 478-8298. Wow, out of 40,000 hours of tape, Tucker found almost 3 minutes of non-rioting. I guess the rest wasn't quite like that. Well, I would tend to agree with that a little bit. I think Tucker cherry-picked some calm, collected individuals in the Capitol. I think when we saw the people breaking the windows and climbing through them and bashing doors and things, I think those people didn't realize they could just walk in.
Well, the tapes clearly show. The Capitol Police opened 6 doors, so they didn't have to break any windows. Number
that's
one.
What I mean. Yeah, I don't think they knew that.
Number one. Number two, a riot is where a demonstration creates chaos and destruction. And there was no chaos or destruction, so it was a demonstration. So, the bottom line is, my lying eyes tell me it was nothing more than a demonstration that the Capitol Police couldn't control and weren't allowed to. This was a setup by the woke and the Democratic Party. This is what Nancy Pelosi wanted to happen. So she got what she wanted.
Well, there was destruction inside the Capitol. People were throwing benches around and things like that. But what I didn't see was they didn't go from office to office trashing the offices and breaking the windows in offices or destroying the computers or, anything of that order. The hallways weren't strewn with paper and whatever. So anytime you have a group that size, there's going to be some bad apples in there. There just are.
That's right. So the two people, number one, the Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, number two, the Majority Leader, that great senator from New York. They run the Capitol, and they're responsible for it, including security. The fifth largest position in the administration of your Capitol building is the Capitol architect. So 9 months later, he comes up with a budget. He says, I need $1 million to fix all the damage done. And, of course, when it was reviewed, but basically unreported, it reported, he reduced it to less than $100,000. So there was less than $100,000 of damage inside. This compares, back in the 50s, the people got into the Capitol or in the House chambers in the gallery and shot 5 congressmen. If you want to talk about an insurrection, let's talk about one that actually happened. Give me a break.
Yeah, and some liberal women set off a bomb in the Capitol.
That's right.
There we are. So. From our text line, 478-8298, Tom, do you think a politician like Rosendale vets every person they take a picture with them? No, I don't think they ask their political ideology before they take a picture with them.
Yeah, they don't do selfies anymore, just with their family, you know, just to be safe.
Let's see. The crazy horn shaman should be ignored while he was standing on the podium in the Senate with the bullhorn because at one point he was walking through the halls quietly. Tucker's a disgrace. I can't believe he made that case with a straight face. Well, the shaman didn't leave the Senate when asked to by Capitol Police. That was one of the things that they got him for. And also he wrote a message, this is just the beginning or something to that effect on whatever stationery he find there. So
yeah, but you know, Jacob Chansley was escorted through the Capitol hallways by the Capitol Police. They opened up the doors to the Senate to let him in.
I know. I saw that. Yeah.
I mean, he had as many as 9 Capitol Police around him at the time, and none of them arrested him as he's wandering around the halls. So, you know, joke. Is this a late night, you know, TV? Are we turning into a comedy hour now?
Yeah. Well, he did make an appeal. He dropped the appeal in July of the same year. And I don't know if I don't know that the evidence of him walking around with police not arresting him would be grounds for another appeal. But
no, but the grounds for an appeal were that they never provided it to him for his defense, number one. His second problem is after 2 years in solitary confinement, he signed a plea agreement, which I talked about in the first part of the show. And in it said that he would give up any right to appeal. So, you know, it's a setup. It's always a setup.
Yeah. If you believe Tucker Carlson tells you the truth, send me your information. I have a bridge to sell you. Well, it's not as, you know, it's not a matter of telling the truth. It's a matter of showing a possible alternative.
That's true.
Presidents have little impact on the economy unless they are Republicans. Then we give them credit for good news. Not on this program, we don't. We haven't for ever since I've been on the air.
No, the only thing we compare is policy.
Yeah.
And it's the policy of the party in charge, particularly the president, that makes a difference, because that's how business and industry makes plans. You know, billion-dollar companies that have been around for 100 years plan for, 10, 20, 30 years in advance. You can't have a billion-dollar drilling operation that you don't plan for the next 5, 10 years. Mining companies are the same way, right?
Yeah. Republican logic, look at hours of peace, ignore the violence that took place. You can't make this stuff up. And let's not forget the Dominion lawsuit showed Tucker Carlson and other pundits lying to the audience over and over and over for ratings. Sad. Yeah,
right. 540 demonstrations that were supposedly peaceful when there were riots. 221, 222. 540, $4 billion in damage, and not a single person has been charged federally for a crime. Not one. Not even in Oregon, where for 6 months, 3 months, whatever it was, they assaulted the courthouse, the federal courthouse, and none of those people were ever charged. None of this makes any sense to any of us, and I'm a Canadian. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Trying to find some short ones here.
Okay.
The financial holdings of the January 6th committee members need to be frozen when they wrongfully jailed rioters. Sue for reparations. The committee members need to foot the bill. And that's from our good listener, Tom.
There you go, Thomas. Thank you.
Yeah. Let's see. Don't forget Trump renamed the USMCA as easy to win. Trade war bankrupted farmers, bailed them out with taxpayer dollars, and he left office with a trade deficit even larger. Go Trump. Farmers got bored of winning and being bailed out from a failed trade war. And I don't think the things are any different under Biden. At least I haven't found any that they're any different. Let's see. We all saw January 6th live, and yes, at first, the first group of people for the Boston. I don't know what that means. Didn't know what they were doing because their leader didn't tell them what to do once they got there.
I don't know what they mean by that, but
well,
if you want to look at the leader clearly in videos, you see what ends up being government agents from the FBI and the CIA and the NSI and gosh knows who else. They were the leaders. They were, let's go, let's get in there. There was that. In fact, what one of the senators had to show it on a laptop to Merrick Garland at one of the Senate things. Right.
Saying, we got to go in the Capitol. We got to go in the Capitol. How come that guy?
Well, I can't comment on anything that we're
investigating. Yeah, of course. Yeah. From our text line, 478-8298, 1, are we going to be Greece 2.0 with the banks? And 2, Nancy is correct about January 6th. The tramps in Washington are using them as an example, for the next heist. Number 3, you want to turn my gas stove to electric so the tramps can flip a switch and stop me from surviving. This is our country right now. Wake up, patriots. Stay in bed, wokers.
Amazing. This is something I think that's amazing. If you've ever seen any movies about Washington, like An American President and other movies, Washington is down or whatever. Yeah. When these people went into the Capitol, everything in that building, whether it's something on a desk, or a painting on a wall or something hanging on a wall, anything, anywhere, it is worth a lot of money. I mean, they're all antiques. And what I find, this is just personally me looking at it, that was one of the things I found that was so remarkable, is nobody took anything.
Yeah.
I mean, all these, things that come from the Smithsonian Institute and everything, and, moved in and out by members of Congress, a pot here or a piece of cut glass there, you just pick it up and put it in your bag. You could have sold it on eBay for tens of thousands of dollars.
Well, I don't know if you could have sold it because it'd be illegal. But
only if you get caught, Thomas.
Well, I think if you put it on eBay, you'd be caught. But no, when the teachers union filled the rotunda in the Wisconsin Capitol, they spray painted the walls. They,
That's right.
They did all kinds of stuff, and
terrible stuff.
I didn't see any reports of any spray painting in the Capitol. Nobody trashed any artwork. Nobody damaged statues. You would think they would want to, tear. If they were liberals, they would tear down all the statues, of course, because they were all racist bums, But
this is great.
Thanks to the Dominion lawsuit, Tucker and Fox pundits have been proven to lie for ratings. If you believe Tucker's propaganda, you're a gullible fool. Well, I'm glad you watched Tucker because that's critical. So, all right, that's going to wrap it up for this segment. But hey, we've got a lot more to talk about. We got to talk more about Tucker Carlson. We got to talk more about the Capitol Police. And we've got to talk about January 6th, and because the Republicans are going to have their own January 6th hearings. So it never ends, Shane. It never ends. All right. Hey, don't go away. We've still got a full hour and a half to go. So a lot of fun yet to come. We'll be right back. 27 minutes before the top of the hour. We're looking for a high of 33 degrees today. And on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this week, it's supposed to be in the 40s, maybe close to the 50s. So that'll be kind of nice, Shane. We get rid of some of this snow and maybe get into more seasonable temperatures and maybe all this.
The groundhog lied. Spring will be early.
Well, somebody should shoot that groundhog. February 2nd, 6 more weeks of winter. We have like 40 more weeks of winter. Come on, what are you talking about? Didn't fractional reserve banking help format the 2008 crash? Shane, what do you think?
Not really. What
I
happened
didn't think so
was
either.
is there was I'm sorry, what?
I said I agree. I don't think so either.
Yeah, what happened was they created a financial instrument, and it was like a gathering of birds. They chased it. It was an MIT concept of these mortgage-backed securities, where they would literally take thousands of mortgages and bundle them up
Yeah.
from a number of banks,
Mm-hmm.
and then sell it to another bank. The idea being, if you take all these mortgages, put them together, the amount of interest being generated and money being paid for the mortgage would be a huge revenue stream for a bank and increase its leveraged asset base. So banks took them in, then they used the 10 times the value to leverage and to trade the market, and they got caught in both.
Yeah. Well, for the benefit of listeners, fractional banking, the bank takes in $1, it loans out 8 or 10.
11 now.
Well, whatever.
It's 11 to 1.
Yeah, it's 11 to 1. So if every banking customer went in and wanted their money, the bank wouldn't have it.
Yeah, that's the other reason Silicon Valley had such a problem is people were taking money out to buy bonds, because they were getting 2% on their money in the bank, and why wouldn't I want to go get 5%? So it was sort of like a run on the bank, meaning people were taking out or moving money into the debt market outside the bank. Well, that's not, you lose depositors, you lose power, because
that's it.
Without depositors, a bank has no assets.
Yep, you don't have much, that's for sure. So just because there wasn't enough voting fraud to overturn the election makes voting fraud okay. Of course, it doesn't make voting fraud okay, but every election there is voting fraud. I mean, there just is.
Oh, there is. Just an add-on to these regional banks from what happened on Thursday with Silicon Valley. Yesterday, about 30% of these regional banks announced depositors' interest rate went already. Are you ready for this? From 0.5 to 3.5%.
Okay.
They increased what they're paying depositors 3%, in one day. That's another black swan, buddy. There you go, Edelman.
I guess apparently so. Oh man, what happened there? Let's see. Hey Shane, Biden will be in Ottawa. Keep us informed. That's from Jerry.
Yeah, I just hope he doesn't meet our prime minister and have a bro moment.
Well, I'm sure he will.
Well, he did with Obama. Remember, I talked about that.
I know.
I was so disappointed, But anyway,
there are two sides of the Capitol events, east and west. The open doors were on the east side. Nobody did anything violent on the west side until the cops tossed flashbangs into the crowd of men and women and children. It started there. End of story. Okay.
Well, it doesn't matter. When you have the guy that was the Capitol Police in charge on Tucker Carlson, and because he spoke up, he lost his job, got fired.
Yeah.
And, saying that this could have been avoided. They refused to call up the National Guard. The mayor said they didn't want the National Guard having any arms. Well, that's fine. So, you bring in several hundred National Guards and they stand linked arm, and it would have been fine. But there's so many things that they didn't do to have this happen. They wanted this to happen, and then they just, they just lie, deny, make up stories.
From our text line, 478-8298, I'm sick of these libs crying about January 6th that was not violence. What is violence is BLM and Antifa beating people up, old people, and burning businesses down, and shooting police officers. That's violence. That is violence. Yeah, we saw a police station just trashed in Seattle, and I think another one in Portland even.
And Minnesota, that's where it started,
yeah.
And yeah, the whole thing is just ugly, all of it. But I mean, it's a horrific thing when you think like for what, over a year, almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Your urban cities burned. They burned. Like, they're just total destruction. It is, and it continues, of course, to this day, right?
Yeah.
Break and shatter, grab and go.
The idiot with the horns pleaded guilty. You can't appeal if you plead guilty. No chaos. Shane is so in denial. It's sad.
No,
Well, we didn't say anything like that. What we said was that he was arrested. He made an appeal. He dropped the appeal in July and pled guilty. That's what we said, and that's the fact.
On top of that, he took a plea agreement after 2 years in solitary confinement.
Yeah.
And in the plea agreement, he agreed to, what was it, 42 months in jail or whatever, and that he couldn't appeal it. So now his lawyers are trying to figure out how do they appeal it after seeing this video, which the Justice Department refused to turn over to him. So, I mean, he's got all kinds of cause for appeal, but when they, it's a setup. I mean, this is Stalin's ham sandwich. Yeah. It's all it is.
What actual evidence does Shane have that federal agents were leading the rioters? What?
Oh, well, it's not only do you have it on tape, but you see the people and that you can identify them, and they work for the FBI and different agencies in your government. I mean, it's a known fact. I'm not making it up. This has been known for 2 years. This isn't new. You may not have known about it, but it's not new.
Yeah.
It's like the Michigan thing where, it was a setup to kidnap the governor, right? It was all a setup by the FBI. And they went to trial, and they got the evidence from the Justice Department and the FBI to prove that they were set up. So this is a setup too. But when you have a legal system that doesn't follow the legal process of a fair trial, meaning providing evidence that they have to the defense of a person accused that they're accusing, you have a serious problem. It's not like France. I mean, in France, you're guilty. You're guilty. You have to prove to the state you're innocent. Here, you're innocent until they prove you're guilty. But imagine being in a republic where you have to prove you're innocent. Well, that wouldn't work well here, would it?
Well, that's how it goes. So
yeah, that's how it goes. There you go.
Oh, what can I tell you?
Not much, but just keep reading.
Okay. Well, we're through with that. So
okay.
Let's see. Well, the other thing that we need to talk about, the House is organizing. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is the AOC of the Republican Party.
She is. She? Very good. That's a good call. Dean.
Yeah, she's the big mouth, loud, with maybe questionable intelligence, but junior
House member, right?
Yeah, junior House member.
First term.
She's from Georgia. Is working with House Oversight Committee James Comer to schedule a trip for members of Congress to visit the Washington, D.C. jail where the January 6th defendants are being held. Greene, who has previously turned to jail where they're charged with crimes related to January 6th attack, are held, is leading the effort, and a letter to start the process of scheduling the visit is expected to be released yesterday. And they have long decried the condition of the facility and question why defendants are being held without bail. That's a violation of the Fourth, Fifth Amendment, I think.
Well, for those that don't know, the Washington, D.C. as a district is under the control of the House.
Yeah.
In the United States. They provide the money and the budget for it. So the city council and the mayor of Washington, D.C., they really have no control over their budget or anything else. Now, the prison is well over 100 years. It's dilapidated. It hasn't been maintained because, liberals won't spend money on a prison. They hate them.
Yeah.
Having said that, these people are in solitary confinement. Once a week, they get out of a dark cell for 1 hour, and most of the cells have no toilets. Yeah, I mean, this is like, this is like 17th century, 18th century, prison in Paris. Like, it's really bad.
Yeah. Well, last year, about 3 dozen January 6 detainees requested to be transferred to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, Shane, alleging the black mold in the facility and worms in their food. So
it's bad, Tom.
So we'll see how that plays out. So yeah, but yeah, I think somebody needs to go over there and look at the conditions, and I still don't understand why. I don't think these people are, threats to society.
Yes.
But I don't know. Maybe if they've got extensive prison records, then keep them in there. But no, I don't think so. So the House, as I mentioned earlier, Representative Barry Loudermilk, of course, you saw him in the Capitol tapes that Tucker released. The January 6th committee claimed while he was giving a tour of Georgia voters that he was, doing a reconnaissance of the Capitol for the rioters to get in and do their dirty deeds. But anyway, he's the chairman of the House Administration Subcommittee on Oversight and is leading an investigation of the dissolved January 6th Select Committee and the security failures surrounding the riot. So the probe is in its beginning stages. We've got to get through the documents. We need to do some interviews with people, but at some point we will have some hearings. So this could go on forever.
Yes.
So,
And just to give you an idea about what I'm talking about. So the D.C. detention facility, as they call it, it was built in 1872, Thomas.
All right. Well, that's good. Year I was born.
So they built a new one in 1976, but it's not really so much a central detention facility as a correctional treatment facility. So the people that are put in solitary confinement are in the 1872.
Yeah.
Now, can you imagine building a solitary confinement jail cell in 1872?
I know.
Don't have nightmares about it, people. Okay, please.
We're ready to go with that one, aren't we? So, well, yeah, they're going to announce the thing into this. So,
yeah.
Well, the other thing we've got to, just when you think you'd heard it all, Shane, Disney has removed Zippity Doodah from the parade because it is racist. Zippity Doodah is racist, and of course, so is Song of the South. And Disney continues its woke knee-bending, kneeling posture before the woke left.
Well, I don't want to say anything personal because I don't want to get in trouble. So I'll give context. So Walt Disney bought the rights to this book in 1938. The other book that he bought early, 2 years later, was for Mary Poppins. And he was wanting to work on a live action movie, meaning it was live action with cartoons, which, of course, in both they had, and they would both be musicals. So it was a triple combination. They started filming Song of the South in 42. But a lot of people complained about its racism because it was basically what the South was like after the Civil War, and this is basically what African American people were dealing with and coming out of slavery. Because remember, it's been around for 400 years in your country. That's what that's 20 generations. So these people had grown up accepting their slavery. I mean, basically, after your family's been enslaved for 100 years, it's not like you think, oh my gosh, Moses is going to come around and save me, right? Anyway, long story short, I remember seeing this movie. I remember getting a copy of it on VHS before they closed it off the library. It was a happy, wonderful Disney movie. I mean, there was nothing racist. You know, what the story may have been about today by the woke standards would be deemed racist. But if you look at it in that way, and you look at Mary Poppins, I mean, there's a lot of ways of looking at Mary Poppins as being racist. You know, it's about, chimney sweeps. I mean, talk about terrible work conditions in the 1800s in England. I mean, so you're back to the Stalin ham sandwich. I mean, anything can be deemed racism depending on the bigot's opinion.
Yeah. If you call it, well, what do they say? A lie 100 times or 1,000 times is true. Something like
well,
that.
Top Gun is finally, the first one didn't get from the Oscar. Now it's up for 6, including Best Picture, Best Actor. But, you could say that's a racist movie because, because of the black pilots that aren't or weren't, in the Air Force. I mean, so again, it's just tailgating. It's tailgating,
Yeah, there you go. Well, I don't know. As I said, I don't know if I'm going to spend any time on the Oscars or not. I think if you read the results, you get 4.5 hours of your life back.
That's right. Well, aren't you happy that the clock is moving ahead? So
well, yeah, that'll help me out. So that'll be so much better. So
yeah, it'll put the Oscars later at night, really. So you'll probably go to bed earlier.
Well, as some of you know, Haley jumped into the presidential fray. They think what's his name, the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, may also jump in. Kristi Noem might jump in from South Dakota. So, yeah, there's...
the sick thing is she's 52. What's sick about it is what this African-American guy on CNN that got dumped from the prime time to daytime.
Yeah.
And his comment about women, being back past their prime. And we talked about this on our podcast. Open the Constitution, look into the section about the executive branch, and you'll find the minimum age to be president is 35. 35.
Yeah.
So he's saying women aren't eligible to be president because they're past their prime at 35. Like, that guy is wacky.
Yeah, that's for sure. So, well, Republicans are grappling with an increasingly apparent and to some uncomfortable reality that a potentially crowded 2024 primary field could once again boost former President Trump to the GOP nomination. So while they split up votes, Trump will come out on top, they think. So the more the merrier.
None of this is going to matter because of the economy. We're not, like I said at the beginning of today's show, after what happened with Silicon Valley Bank, you're on the precipice of a depression. So you got 2 years basically before the election and a new president. And to save your country, it'll be Trump and that great governor from Florida, because they got to save your country. I mean, it literally. Yeah. This election will be about saving. It won't be about politics. It won't be about politically saving your country. It'll be about economically saving your country. So this is like an 08 election. Where everybody made a vote to prove to the world they weren't racist for Obama. But this time it's going to be different because this isn't going to be about race or anything else. It's just plain, can I feed my family?
Yeah. Well, the Fox News poll found Trump leading a hypothetical 15-candidate primary field with 43% of the vote. DeSantis, 28, and Nikki Haley and Mike Pence at 7 each. But of course, as we all know, that can change dramatically. Quinnipiac University poll told a similar story. Trump beat out 13 other declared or potential primary rivals with 42% of the vote, while DeSantis 16 or 36 rather. Haley and Pence 5 and 4 respectively. Trump still has he's still got some clout.
Oh, he's the guy. I mean, this is like suggesting Buttigieg is going to replace Biden. I mean, Biden took care of him, just putting him in the job of transportation secretary. I mean, anybody that takes a job knowing there's going to be 1,000 trains derail every year, it's wow. What a hidden joke that's been. For
yeah, I know.
Years. For 50 years, this has gone on.
Well, and also we seem to have an awful lot of planes running into each other, or almost running into each other everywhere. So
can you imagine the video of that, of two of those monsters exploding on the tarmac or at a gate? Like, oh my gosh!
Yeah.
That would be horrific. Because that's where all the fuel is in the wings, right? So.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. Well, Republicans are wrestling with whether Governor Ron DeSantis should run, and if he does run, can he soften his conservative brand enough to win a national election? Is he too far right, Shane, do you think?
No. He's perfect. I mean, he's the right age. He's got a beautiful family. He's got the experience. He's a successful businessman. He's terming out as governor. You can only run for 2 terms as governor in Florida, as you know. So there's no question he's going to go move up to the next level. I just think it's him and Trump, and you get 4 years of Trump and 8 years of him as president. So hopefully in 12 years they'll save your country, because right now this L-shaped recession you've been in since February has, just with this issue of Silicon Valley Bank, it just dropped. So this recession was trying to come back, it seriously come back, but now they've lost a generation, if not 2. They've lost the millennials to the market. They've lost the Ys and Zs to the market as investors. And you're talking like 10 years. I mean, this could take a long time.
Yeah.
This is not good.
Yeah. Well, there's no question Trump understands markets. So, that would be a step up for him. And, with DeSantis' attack on Disney, the liberals are going to come out in force for that. So, and you got abortion in there as well. Abortion is going to be on the ballot in 2024, like it or not. So, all right. That's
the problem. Okay.
That's going to wrap it up for this segment.
You got it, buddy.
But we still got a full hour to go. So we'll come back, and Shane will tell us what he'll have 6 or 7 minutes to think about it.
It's a Disney thought.
I know. All right. We'll be back with more right after this. Hey, don't forget it's Daylight Savings Time weekend. I'll get it out in a minute. Don't forget to set your clocks ahead tonight. And boy, it's you're going to lose an hour's sleep. That's gonna affect you for a week or two. So we'll be right back right after this. 8 minutes after the hour of 10 a.m. Mountain Time. It's Saturday. It's March 11th, 2023. It's Daylight Savings Time weekend. Set your clocks back. No. Spring forward. Don't set them back. Set them ahead. You set them ahead an hour, you lose an hour of sleep tonight. There's as always, Shane, there's always a bill to make daylight savings time permanent. And I don't know why they don't do that. I mean, it seems like a no-brainer to me, but
there's always a bill to go metric too.
Well, yeah.
I just want to comment on Disney real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
Look, they generate $29 billion a year for their theme parks, a huge amount of money, but it's not cheap. $189 for an adult. A family of 4 pays $600 to get in for a day pass, and hot dogs are $15 and hamburgers are $25, and a pop is $5. So Americans just look at this and go, yawn. Disney had it all. They were the Vatican of Florida. They had their own, 21 square mile, estate. And then instead of being bipartisan on politics, the CEO decided to support the woke position on transgenderism, and they blew themselves up. Terrible management because of that, and it's going to hurt them badly. And Americans probably will not go, not because of the cost, but because they took a political, side on an issue, which they shouldn't. That's it.
We'll see how that, because he's got a bunch of plans that he wants to implement there. So we'll see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I wanted to go over a couple things here that Governor Greg Gianforte is proposing the largest tax cut in state history. As we know, the legislature is in session now. We just passed the halfway point last week. And there are several bills, too many to go over here, so I'm going to put the link in the description on our replay. There's some on water, there's some on housing, there's some on climate, there's some on state issues. So check that out. There's quite a few of them, and there's just too many of them to go through on here. Take an hour
and just look up, just Google badbills.com.
Badbills.com. Yeah, you can go over to badbills.com. Montana has the 14th highest income tax in the country. With this tax cut, the largest ever in state history, Montana taxpayers at every income level will see a tax cut. It permanently lowers income tax rate for most Montanans from 6.75 to 5.9%. Triples the earned income tax credit to support low-income earners and incentivize work. And Gallatin County will get nearly $5 million in relief, permanent rate reductions in 24 and 25. The business equipment tax exemption is going to be $1 million, a tenfold increase from when the government took office. So unless you've got $1 million or more in business equipment, there's no tax on that. Reforms from 20 to 21 and 23 remove 5,000 businesses from the rolls. And this $1 million will take many more off. Immediate rebates, government proposed $2,000 and long-term reforms in property tax relief. Gallatin County, $1,000 rebate reduces property taxes by 15% on average this year. Capital gains tax reform simplifies Montana's complex capital gains tax system to help homeowners, retirees, farmers, and ranchers. And with reform, Montana will have the fourth lowest capital gains tax in the nation. Montana's current corporate tax system is outdated and a disincentive on corporations to invest in Montana and create jobs. Reforms corporate tax to encourage businesses to invest and create jobs in Montana. And they're also talking about providing income tax rebates for income taxpayers of up to $1,250. Use a surplus to pay off the general obligation debt, making Montana debt-free in 23, and saves taxpayers $40 million over the next 2 years. Not the next 10 years, next 2 years. Establishes the $100 million Safer Montana Roads and Bridges Fund. Funds could be used to leverage federal funding as much as $8 from the feds for each dollar from the state for road and bridges improvement. So that's what the governor has proposed, and we'll see if the legislature will go along with that.
Well, there you go. What a review. Good job, Eagle Man.
That's a good job, isn't it? Yeah. So.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I know this. You're going to sit back in your seat because, you love me bringing this up. I just think government right now on a global basis spending money on any highways is wrong because we're coming into the age of the electronic flying vehicle. I mean, it's going to happen. It's going to change the world. And all these highways, bridges and everything, they'll be probably still utilized by 18-wheelers, but that's about it.
Whatever you say.
Okay, baby.
Let's take a phone call. 406-522-TALK is the number. 406-522-8255. Caller, you're on with Tom and Shane. What's going on?
Morning, boys. Right on, John here.
What's up?
Hey, yeah, I'm sitting out here in front of Chico, and can't go in until I finish this award-winning show.
That's it.
I made some notes from today.
Excuse me. Right on, John. I just want to thank you. First, before you get going, buddy, thank you for watching our podcast and commenting. I'm so grateful. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I try and tell as many people as I can. Yes, and yeah.
Thank you. You're a good man. Thank you.
Okay, so out of the gate here, unlike some stuff you have this morning, these Dominion machines and everything. When I was talking with some of them, they're supposed to be offline, but I haven't got an answer whether they print a hard copy and verify the hard copies after the transmittal. So they're offline, but as soon as they do the transmittal, the problem can go there. January 6th, I think it was designed by Democrats, and I think they need to dig in deeper. Immigration. What is the increases from the low point of Trump's border crossings to the high point under Biden? I would like a 4-year comparison, the 4-year comparison numbers of deaths due to COVID as to fentanyl. You were talking about newspapers this morning and everything. Newspapers, news outlets, Facebooks, Twitter lost big money due to the wokeness, even including like Colbert. I can't even stand to watch them for about a second because it's just so one-sided. And finally, the medical industries lied big time about the mass jabs and of this virus and made huge profits of it and will not admit it. Like the CDC will not admit that the mask could never or would never work. And they just made huge profits and basically destroyed our country and really hurt the world big time. Any questions for me?
No, I think you covered everything.
Well done.
Okay. I thought I'd throw my little twist in there and go for it from there. So
all right, man.
I'll be waiting Chico here until 11 o'clock.
Okay. Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Take care. All right.
Well, the one important response to him that we can do right away is that over 1 million Americans have died from fentanyl in the last 15 years. So the fentanyl poisoning of Americans is far worse than COVID. And it's clear from the CDC head that was before committees in Congress this last week, both the House and the Senate, that Fauci and his sidekicks, they're personally responsible for the death of 1 million Americans and possibly 6 million people around the world. So, I mean, it's how would you like to have that, as your legacy? Ouch.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see, from our text line, 478-8298, didn't Capitol Police admit under oath that they invited people into the Capitol? They claimed trespass. Isn't that entrapment?
That's true. And guess what? The committee never had him testify because of that, because he would have told them that. So, yeah. Good email or text, whatever.
Yeah. Maybe should mention this, but the scores for coming true so far, conspiracy theorists 17, liberals nothing. Definition of irony, allowing the burning of our American flag, yet citing someone for doing a burnout on an LGBTQ flag painted on the street.
That's right. Yeah.
Have you ever heard USA, USA, USA chanted at a Democrat rally? Neither have I. And in a Breitbart article, Janet Yellen admits 90% of IRS edits will slap small business families, not billionaires. And Silicon Valley collapse, no problem. Just learn to mine. There we
So,
go.
newsflash, financial markets around the world are now concerned about the opening on Monday of the Dow Jones. Remember, a 10% drop shuts down the system. You know, it's a breaker because of what happened in 08 and 09. So we have to be watching for that early morning, 6:30. Well, it'll be an hour later.
Yeah. Yeah, Shane's on metric time.
That's right.
You got to add 32 minutes.
That's right.
Let's go back to the phones. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Caller, you're on with the award-winning Tom and Shane. What's going on?
Well, you know, this Tester, he was at a Dem dinner here the other day with another multi-millionaire liberal Democrat, and he was railing about Zinke and everybody, all these other guys being millionaires. Well, it just came out today he's worth $6.3 million, and he spent more money at the restaurants, the high-dollar restaurants and stuff, over $1 million there in Washington and that. So it's kind of interesting that Big Flat, the guy that called in the Aaron show this week was pretty good, flip-flop, flat top.
Yeah.
Is sure giving a lot of lip service to everything. And, you know, I guess the one thing about you can't doubt the report about him spending more money at these high-dollar restaurants and stuff too. All you gotta do is look at a picture of him, and you know, a picture's worth 1,000 words. But
there you go.
It's pretty sad. The guy, you know, poor old dirt farmer that he is, and he'll show back up here for campaign, and then he'll get the hired man's Carhartt coat that's all ripped up and full of oil stains and stuff, and put it on and go around like he's really a Montana boy, but he's turned into a swamp dweller really big time right now. So. That's all I got to say today, boys. Thank you.
All right, man. Thanks for the call. All right. Appreciate it. Thanks for listening. Yeah. I swear these lib texters must all be women, too. Y'all make a clear statement, and somehow they hear what they want to hear. That's from Connor. And I can't say the rest of it, so thanks, Connor. Well, I could, but Now have Shane tell me what Trump was doing for 3 hours during the riot. Well, this brings up a good point, Shane. How long were the Seattle riots, Portland riots, Minneapolis riots? 3 hours in the Capitol and everybody went home. What's the deal?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's, you know, it's just, it's an incredible example of what we see ourselves addressing. No one wants to talk about the Silicon Valley Bank, but boy, let's 2 years later, let's still talk about July 6th. Until it hits you personally, and then all of a sudden, why didn't we know about this? Why didn't anyone say anything? Why? How could this be happening? So it's a good thing that we have the show. It's a great thing, and you do the world a good service, Eagle Man, providing this time for us to have conversations about things that people need to know.
And what does it matter what Trump did? What if he was there with a flagpole banging on the Capitol Police? Would that make you feel better? Yeah. Where was Biden when the train derailed in East Palestine? He still hasn't been there. So, and I don't think he's going now because his reception would be not a welcome one, I don't think.
Well, but where's the $100 million for them? I mean, it's like, we can drop $500 million on the Ukraine. Well, where's the $100 million for these people in Ohio?
Yeah, what's that?
It's a horrific reality. It takes you and me back to 3 Mile Island, right? And so forth. It's just. I mean, the head of the railroad company was before Congress this week apologizing and said, we're going to clean it up. Well, they've stopped taking the earth that was being shipped to a cleaning facility in Texas because it's so contaminated. They don't want to try and clean any more dirt. And, really, we're talking about having to clean dirt.
Yeah. I doubt the economy will ever go down, so why put surplus aside for that rainy day? And why fix bridges that have been neglected? Give us our money back. Flying vehicles sounds like someone has taken the orange pill.
Sorry, buddy, but go check it out. New York Police Department have agreed to purchase flying vehicles to replace helicopters for two reasons. One, they're quiet, not noisy. People complain about it. One of the biggest complaints that New York Police Department gets is the noise from helicopters. Number two, they will be AI vehicles, so instead of just carrying 6 people, they'll be able to carry 8 because they won't have pilots. But they're less expensive. They're easier to maintain, meaning the hourly time down for maintenance will be far less. 3 commercial companies have picked up a contract to purchase them to ferry people from JFK to downtown New York. So it's already happening. These will be in the air within the next 24 months, and it's here. Tom doesn't want to believe me, but before I die, we'll see it happening. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. How much does it cost to go to Disney World? For a family of 4, the average Walt Disney World vacation in 2023 cost $5,369.88, 268.49 per person per night. And I guess that includes the tickets to the park.
That's 5 days, right? So, I just said it's $600 for a family of 4, so 5 nights, $3,000.
Yeah, pretty close. Yep.
That's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money. Yeah, if you're going to go there for an extended period of time, it ain't fun.
No.
Shane.
You can get a $50 day pass to ride 40 rides, but that's it. It's a Skip Plus pass.
Yeah. Shane, you're great, but cars will fly right after pigs.
They're already in the air, buddy. Governments are doing it. Look, Boeing's already in a joint venture to build them. Elon Musk's in a joint venture to build them. Chevrolet, GM's in a joint venture with a company to build them. Every major car company in Europe's got joint ventures with people in this technology. So go look it up. I'm not making it up. There's a $4 stock you should buy that's unbelievable. Tom thinks it's a joke, but if you want to get rich and didn't buy Dell, or you didn't buy Google or Facebook, at $4, you'll be happy, believe me.
Well, it's gone down, Shane, because I've been tracking it for the last 2 weeks.
So have I, but I mean, it's still right now with everything that's happening. If I was gonna buy something, that's what I buy. I would buy it. I'm sorry, that's what I would do.
All right. I was at Winco the other day.
Yeah.
The grocery store.
Yeah, I know you have and we don't.
Yeah, a lot of people there. I'm trying to picture flying vehicles taking off all at once and trying to figure out which direction to go that you're not going to run into somebody else who's just coming up out of the parking lot. I mean, come on, Shane. I mean. No,
anyway, the company is Blade, Blade. Look it up. Yeah. Pay attention. Watch it if you don't want to buy it and see what happens. But Tom just refuses to accept the incredible attributes of artificial intelligence. Navy is already doing it. They're flying jets on and off their aircraft carriers without pilots. You saw yesterday the Boeing got clearance for their jet. They'll start delivering them on Monday. Yeah. They didn't stop production of it. And what the whole thing is the software to move to AI. That plane will move to AI without pilots within the next 5 years. So it's already, all this is happening. You either acknowledge it or you don't. I acknowledge it.
Okay. Blade stock down 5%, went from 468 to it's down to 391 right now.
Well, in case you haven't noticed, Tom, the market's, big.
I know it did. Well, now's the time to buy it, I guess. If you're gonna buy it at $390 instead of $468.
Look, when Google came out after its underwriting, it was $80, and went to $1,000. So
yeah, there you go. But it ain't Google. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this segment. Hey, it's March 11th, 2023. It's Daylight Savings Time weekend. Set your clocks ahead 1 hour tonight. Oh, my God. You're going to love it. So, yeah, the bars will close early tonight. So get there early, start drinking early. Oh. Shane and I will return right after the news. Welcome back, everyone. 27 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Saturday, March 11th, 2033. It's Turn Your Clocks Ahead weekend. Daylight savings time is upon us. And I don't know, Shane, I like the idea of daylight savings time year-round. What would we call it? Just savings time?
Well, great idea.
I guess.
Oh, by the way, just want to let you know, Thomas, because you keep, So Elon Musk announced in October 25th, 2022, that his company has built the Model A, cost $300,000, and pre-sales are currently open. Interested customers can put down $150, and the waiting list is over 15,000 for, guess what, electric flying cars, which will be delivering. He will be delivering in 2025. So, nanny.
Well, there may be some around, but they're not going to be
$1.5 trillion industry by 2050. Go look at major banks in your country are already talking about it. So I don't know why you just don't want to acknowledge it. Morgan Stanley, 1.5 trillion. It'll create 100 million jobs and people making $100,000 to $200,000 a year. You just wait and see.
Okay.
It's going to save the world's economy.
Well, 2050, maybe. There might be some flying cars by 2050. Remember, the horse and the tractor existed in the fields for 50 years side by side.
Well, in 20 years, Ford made 12 million Model Ts. So, it didn't take long to make a Model T. It won't take long to build these. Yeah. But anyway, onwards. What's your next topic? Sorry, I know I keep beating you up because every time I see you on Skype and you sit back in your chair and throw your arms up like, oh my God.
I do. I can't believe it. Oh my God.
And you just don't want to believe it. I love it. It's great. I gotta razz the Eagle Man.
Yeah, right. Well, I can't. I don't know about that, but let's see. Well. Just remember, Charles Manson didn't kill anyone. Trump is 100% responsible for lying to his supporters and sending them to overthrow the election. He didn't send anybody anywhere.
No.
Listen to the speech. Listen to the speech.
Yeah.
Listen to the speech.
That's right.
My God.
And from the time the election took place until January 6th, we talked about every option that he had to try and override, or challenge the election. So we were open about it. We discussed it. We explained it to all of our listeners, on our podcast on Saturdays. So the last shot was, which had happened before, was for the vice president, who's the president of the Senate, to deny people to be sat in the Electoral College because someone in the House had put up a claim signed by a senator that said, don't do this. So it had happened in the past. It could have happened that day. But Vice President Pence, as others, refused to do so. So, that's it.
That's just very simple.
That's it.
Flying vehicles, and Trumpy wants to pay people to have babies, but only white babies, because as we all know, paying black women for babies is bad. Well, more babies are aborted in New York City than are born. So,
aborted. That's right. It's horrific.
They're aborted.
Two generations. Yeah. It's dead. The African American population would be 40 million more people if it wasn't for abortion. It's very scary.
Shane is simply echoing dear leader's claim for flying cars. He's a good subject. Hail Trump.
No, I don't believe that. I think that the ex-presidents listened to our podcasts and shows and picked up on it because of us. We get the credit.
I'm with Tom.
I mean, the United States Navy is doing this already. What is it with people? Wow.
Shane stock tips. Remember, he said Disney was going to put Netflix and all the other out of business.
Well, by numbers they are, and their stock is held up well, except for the political issue they find themselves in.
Yeah.
And we were completely correct on all of these networks and cable companies, and this whole idea about this new age of providing content to people. And we made the call 2 years ago. We warned people. So anybody that listened to us 2.5 years ago and got out of them, would be laughing all the way to their mattress where their cash is.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing up train accidents. During Trump's 4 years, there were 5,103 derailments, 44,360 train accidents, 5,892 chemical spills, and 26 deaths. Trump and Secretary of Transportation Chao appeared at zero of these accidents, and FEMA was never called out to any of them either. And to compare that with East Palestine, it just shows your ignorance.
Actually, it's the reverse. I'm convinced now that FEMA wasn't called out because they don't want to draw attention to the fact there's 1,000 derailments a year. The fact that they can discover within 6 hours of this accident what the cause was because of cameras that have been put up on every telephone pole that follows trains so they can see the condition of trains as they pass. Tells you that with 1,000 a year, they don't want to make this an issue, a policy issue. Let's just talk about bridges failing because people drive cars. Let's not talk about the rail system in your country, which is really important because everything that you consume comes in containers that are shipped either on 18-wheelers, from the docks to stores, or put on trains and hauled around your country. So, this is infrastructure that should be talked about, not.
Yeah.
Ditched.
Also, the alerts on the bearing
thrown under the train.
the alert on the train, the East Palestine train failed. The alert that lets you know the bearing is bad.
Right, they're bad. That's right. And just for everybody to know, there's been 6 derailments since then.
Yeah.
So
there you are.
There you are.
Imagine you standing for women's rights while letting men dominate women's sports and nominating a man as Woman of the Year. Yeah, that's hard to fathom, isn't it?
Well, the remarkable thing is, it's a Women's of the Year day the other day. And, they award, transgender men. It's about women.
Yeah.
Well, I have to laugh with that one like that. Whoa.
Yeah. Well, boy, I don't know. It's every time these things happen, Shane, we go crazy. We go a little bit nuts. And then, what we do. So I don't know. It's one of those. I don't know. We closed the barn door after the horse is long gone. So let's take another phone call. 406-522-TALK is the number. Caller, you're on with Tom and Shane. What's going on?
Well, I'm absolutely delighted to find out that the cars are going to get the hell off the road.
Yeah.
So motorcyclists won't get run over.
That's true. Now we're talking. Yeah.
I like
Huge point. Thank you. I'm glad you brought that up.
The tire companies aren't going to like this at all.
No, but think of how great it's going to be for the environment, because tires are probably one of the worst things for the environment. I would say that's 1 or 2. Plastic is probably number 1, and tires is 2.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That just reminded me of something. I was driving in Orange County. I was living in the San Fernando Valley. I took an old
machinist from upstate New York, from Calabasas, down to see the Queen Mary, and we were driving on the interstates and down there, and he said, "I've got one question." I said, "How many?" Well, actually, two questions. How many cars travel on this road every day? And I said, "God, I don't know, 100 to 150,000." And he looked at me and said, "Well, where does the rubber go?" He said, "You would think that every day 150,000 cars drive this road and their tires are wearing out. Yeah. Where does the rubber go?" And I said, Joe, that's a really good question. I have absolutely no idea.
Well, I think it turns to particles and it blows off on the side of the road. That's probably where it is.
Oh, exactly. But where are the piles of rubber alongside the road?
Well, that's true. Well, the birds eat them.
Birds aren't real, man.
I know. You know that. That's a story we covered some time back. That birds aren't real. That they're government little iPod tripod little spy deals running around in our trees. So yeah.
Well, the big giggle is the worst thing for asphalt, of course, is moisture. Freezing and thawing. So water and rain and snow are the worst thing for asphalt. And other than cement, everything's covered in asphalt. I mean, it's you look at it, you go, I guess we should just have gravel roads and cement. No, it shouldn't be asphalt, but it's an industry number, baby. And
it's cheaper. It's cheaper than concrete.
Oil business. Yeah, but it's oil, baby. It's oil business.
Well, yeah. So there you are.
So another question about the flying cars.
Mm-hmm.
Are they all vertical takeoff?
Yes.
Well, that's why I said I picture myself in the Winco parking lot, and about 40 of these things raise up at one time, and get out of my way! Where are you going?
It's an upgraded helicopter, so yes.
So,
well, the whole field of AI is actually quite, or could be really frightening.
What's that? What could be frightening?
The price?
Well, AI already writes things. There's one aspect of AI that writes essays and.
Yeah, I use that when I write my articles.
AI is smarter than I am.
Yeah, it is. It's smarter than me.
Yeah. It crosses the I's and dots the T's.
Yeah. It does. It's pretty remarkable, actually.
You didn't catch that? It crosses the I's, dots the T's?
Yeah.
I thought it was funny.
Well, glad you told me.
Well, there has been discussions with AI somethings that claim, well, of course I'm a person.
Yeah.
Of course I'm an artificial intelligence. Well, I guess if a corporation can be a person, then I suppose a computer can be a person too.
That's it.
There you go.
Absolutely right. There we go. Now we're talking. Now we're getting into reality.
There you go. That's right. So now they'll be able to go to court and make claims. Computers will be able to go to court and make claims.
Yeah.
They'll win the argument. They're brilliant.
My apple is obviously innocent, Your Honor.
That's right.
Right. Thanks for the call, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you scoundrels, keep it up.
All right, we'll do our best. Thanks for listening. All right. From our text line, 478-8298. Oh, my God. I'm with Shane.
Well, read on.
That's all it was. I'm with Shane.
Oh, there you go.
Let's see. Tell me again how trains are so much safer than pipelines. Well, they are. Well, pipelines are safer than trains, but
yeah. course they are.
Yeah, by a long ways. Yeah,
It's not even comparable.
yeah. Trump paying people to make babies sounds a bit strange, but then again, he wanted to buy Greenland. Yes, more black babies are welfare. Not necessarily. That's kind of racist ideology.
Of course it is, but he's not wrong. The demographics prove that.
Well, they want you dependent on government.
Well, no, but we've gone over the population demographics. That's why you have it. That's why you legally let 1.4 million people come into your country every year, legally.
Yeah.
And that's more than the next 10 countries in the world. So, I mean, you've got the handle. You know what the necessity is.
Yeah.
But, coming in legally, it's merit-based, right? Not race-based.
Yeah.
But what's going on in your southern border is race-based. It's all race-based. And, that's what it is.
Yes, more black babies are welfare, but Trump, he wants to pay a bonus to crank out babies. Well, remember, Trump also gave more money to black colleges than any president in history.
And grandfathered it, so they don't have to come back.
Yeah, they don't have to keep coming back every year. So let me understand. We hate electric cars, but like flying cars.
I've been saying for a year, don't buy an electric car, and you just buy a used car and replace it every 3 years, and save yourself a lot of problems and money. And
well, why are you buying an electric flying car?
No, I said don't buy an electric car because you will be buying a flying car.
Well, why would you buy a flying electric car?
Because it'll be less cost in operating and more efficient.
Oh, okay. So all these, what is Winco going to have a charger in every parking spot?
Like the old drive-ins where you hooked up your speaker to your window to listen to the movie? Oh,
you go in and do your shopping and you plug your electric flying dodo bird into a charger. I don't know.
80% of every car ride in the U.S. today is within 2 miles of your home. 80%. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Mitt Romney said corporations are owned by people, got twisted to be corporations are people. Well, corporations are legal entities by definition and have been since 1620 or before.
Before. 14th century in Amsterdam.
What was the great Dutch something company or other, whatever it was? Right. When you pay people to make babies, do you think it will be white or black babies leading? Well, I think anybody who wants to have a kid and wants to make some money will apply. So.
Well, look at the Hispanic population growth rate, and by the end of the century, you'll have 100 million of them. So
yeah,
just pay attention. Their birth rate is 4 to 1. They're pretty good.
Yeah,
because they
we talked about that too. Yeah. It's to prove your point. Black babies. What's the second biggest minority? It used to be black babies. What is it now, Shane?
It's Hispanics.
It's Hispanic babies.
Right.
And why is that? Because more black babies are being aborted. So,
since 1973, 19 million African American abortions.
Yeah. There you go.
20 million. That's 40 million people, basically, right?
Yeah.
It's just
more than
terrific.
The population of California.
Yeah, that's right. 28, 29.
Yeah. Rubber blows off the side of the road into dirt. Yeah, it does.
Of course.
That's where it goes. Yeah.
And that's why the sides of roads are so resilient for propagating flowers, because that rubber in the dirt allows the dirt to hold more moisture.
Yeah. Let's see. Trump gave money away to buy votes. Yeah, Biden's not doing anything close to that.
That's right.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Wait, we love Elon. He has electric cars. Electric cars have fewer parts to break, and Elon is working on a new battery tech without lithium. For the love of God, I thought we educated you on EVs. They go the same distance as gassers and recharge in 20 minutes. Head explodes.
It's going to be great doing this because you and I will be doing this for at least another decade. We're going to push up roses on this, right?
I don't know.
So this is going to be great. I mean, we've had fun for 12 years. We're going to even have more fun.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, just want to thank everybody. Let them know a special public announcement about Tom and Shane's podcast. We moved it to in the afternoon.
Yeah.
5 o'clock Mountain, 4 o'clock Pacific. And we're getting huge results. We're getting so many more people watching. Thank everybody. Linda, we love you especially because you've been there from the beginning. But I'm so excited. The numbers that Tom is telling me we're getting are just really great. So thank you all.
There you go. From our text line, the cost of a flying car will make electric cars look cheap.
I would say within 15 years, the cost of an electric flying vehicle will be less than $35,000. So there's less to it. You're just talking about plastic, some metal for the frame, and a battery, and some computers, some computer equipment. So yeah, it's going to be a lot less expensive.
There you go.
And better for the environment, except for the one problem: electricity.
Yeah, that's the problem.
There's not enough of it, Tom.
Yeah, there isn't going to be enough of these electric cars either. So, and electric flying stuff will be even worse. So they're going to take a lot more. It's going to take a lot more to push something up into the air and hold it there than it is to push it along the ground.
Oh, Tom, stop it. Okay, so the other problem that you have, of course, they want to get rid of gas stoves. What? Yeah. And replace them with electric stoves, right?
Yeah, right.
So that's going to be great. I mean, the worst appliance in your house for electrical use is your stove, your electric stove. I don't use mine anymore. All I use is my, my air fryer. It's just phenomenal.
Okay, that's not electric, I guess. So
it is electric, but the amount of electricity my oven makes something in an hour, I can do in 15 minutes in my air fryer with like 10%. I mean, like
less
5% of electricity.
DeSantis 2024 for smart people. Trump 2024 for the poorly educated. How do you explain Biden? Talk about poorly educated. Jeez, holy mackerel. Biden giving money away just like Trump. Buy votes. Our tax dollars going to buy votes. Why are Republicans so ignorant about EVs? Just ask Elon how they work. Are you saying Elon makes cars that only go 50 miles and take overnight to recharge? No, I didn't say that. I never said anything like that.
Not at all. No wonder these people don't know.
I don't have a problem with how.
No, but if they're sitting listening to our show and think that's what you said,
yeah, I know.
That's pretty that tells you how serious your problem is in your country.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. So
I
don't have a problem with how far they go. I don't have a problem with how fast they charge. What I have a problem with is people lined up waiting for the charger.
Well, my favorite moment. You're my good and best friend forever. I love the show. I love the opportunity you've given me to do our podcast, and I love all of our listeners, all the phone calls. It's great doing this show. We're so proud to do this, and we feel good about it every time we plan for it and execute it. And I just want everyone to be happy, be safe, live in the moment. Every moment. Go look out your door. Everything you see is a miracle, and live to work. Find something you love. Tom and me. We tell you people this all the time. Find something you love. And when you come home to your family, doing something you love, you'll have a smile on your face.
That's for sure. All right. That's going to wrap it up for us. Boy, this has been a fast morning, Shane. We've been doing a lot today. Hey, don't forget, it is Daylight Savings Time weekend. Set your clocks ahead tonight. And we really appreciate all of you being here. And thanks so much for joining us. It's been a real pleasure, as it always is, to talk to you guys. Thanks for all the calls. Thanks for all the texts. And boy, we're very happy with how you guys support the show. That's going to wrap it up for us. We'll see everybody next Saturday, same bat time, same bat station.